Ever wondered what it's like to have every second of your life controlled without question? In the Amish world, time isn't your sit, belongs to tradition. From the moment you wake to the way you work, nothing is random. Every action is faith-bound. But how much control is too much when even silence has rules? From birth. It starts at birth, literally, because for the Amish, control doesn't start when they can walk or speak. It starts from the very moment they take their first breath. Birth in Amish life isn't just biological, it's spiritual. Home births are common, attended only by trusted midwives or female relatives approved by the church. Hospitals are avoided unless absolutely necessary. Then comes the name. It's never about preference. Names are drawn from ancestors or scripture, each one carrying weight, purpose, and quiet expectation. It's the child's first link to the Ordnung, the strict, unwritten code that will shape every part of their life. Before they can crawl, they're placed on a path already carved out by generations before them, a path where faith isn't chosen, it's inherited. But this is only the beginning of a lifelong path that's already been chosen for them. Waking up to worship. The Amish day doesn't begin with an alarm, it begins with surrender. Before the light touches the fields, they rise in silence. There are no phones to check, no rush to scroll. Instead, the first moment is offered to God. A quiet prayer is whispered, not out loud, but in the heart. Some turn to handwritten devotionals, passages that have guided generations. There's no chaos, no noise, only stillness shaped by purpose. Even tasks like dressing or starting the fire follow an invisible rhythm, set not by convenience but by conviction. It's a kind of worship that doesn't need words. In this world, the morning isn't just the start of the day, it's the first act of obedience. And before the world wakes, they've already given their time to faith. Chores as worship. For the Amish, every task is more than just a chore, it's a way to serve God. From sunrise, their day is shaped by devotion, not convenience. Men and women alike see farming, cooking, and cleaning as sacred duties, each movement filled with purpose. When the men work the fields, it's not just about harvesting crops, it's about honoring God's creation. Women, too, find reverence in the quiet act of preparing meals, washing clothes, or cleaning the home. The rhythm of these daily tasks isn't simply functional, it's a spiritual ritual. The Amish don't view labor as a means to an end. It's an offering, a devotion. Every act, from milking cows to scrubbing floors, becomes an act of worship. Through each task, they acknowledge God's presence in every part of their lives. To the Amish, there's no separation between work and worship. Every day is an opportunity to serve, and every moment is an offering. Dress codes from heaven. For the Amish, appearance isn't just a choice, it's a reflection of faith. Their clothing is a visible testament to their submission to God, with every detail governed by religious beliefs. The plainness of their dress is a deliberate choice, designed to keep vanity at bay and humility at the forefront. Colors, styles, and even buttons are carefully chosen, each carrying biblical significance. Women wear dresses in subdued colors, often muted blues, blacks, or grays, symbolizing simplicity and modesty. Buttons? They're replaced with hooks or pins, a subtle reminder to avoid prideful adornments. Men's clothing follows a similar pattern: dark suits, broad-brimmed hats designed to maintain a separation from worldly fashion. The Amish see their dress as more than tradition. It's a daily commitment to live a life of humility and devotion. Each morning, as they don their simple garments, they're reminded that submission to God is not just in their actions, but in their very appearance. No time for vanity. In the Amish world, vanity is seen as a dangerous distraction from spiritual devotion. Mirrors, makeup, and jewelry are strictly prohibited, creating a lifestyle where physical appearance holds no significance beyond modesty. Women, in particular, are deeply affected by this. Without mirrors, they cannot admire themselves or adjust their appearance in the way most would. The act of preparing for the day is not about self expression. It's about ensuring humility and avoiding pride. For Amish women, beauty is found in simplicity, not decoration. Their clothing, though plain, is always neat, reflecting their commitment to modesty. Jewelry is seen as a sign of vanity, so it's not worn no earrings, no rings, no necklaces. The focus is entirely on inner beauty and submission to God, reminding them that their worth is not in outward appearance but in how they serve Him. Meals with a message. For the Amish, meals are not just moments of nourishment, they're sacred rituals, deeply intertwined with faith. Before and after each meal, the family gathers to offer prayers of thanks, acknowledging God's provision. Silence at the table is the norm, with no casual conversation to distract from the spiritual atmosphere. Every bite, every movement is a reflection of gratitude and devotion. Seating at the table follows strict gender-based traditions, reinforcing the community's hierarchy. Men typically sit at the head, symbolizing their role as spiritual and familial leaders. Women and children take their place humbly, serving the men first. This arrangement isn't just about order, it's a constant reminder of the divine structure that governs Amish life. Through these rituals, mealtime becomes more than just a break from labor. It's an opportunity to reaffirm their commitment to God's will, maintaining unity and submission to the greater purpose of their faith. Time isn't theirs. For the Amish, time is not their own, it belongs to the church and to tradition. The daily schedule is dictated by spiritual leadership, leaving little room for personal choice or spontaneity. Sundays, for instance, are reserved entirely for church, where the community gathers for long, often hours-long services. The entire day is devoted to worship, prayer, and reflection, leaving no time for personal relaxation or entertainment. Saturdays are spent in preparation for Sunday, as every household must ensure its work is completed before the Sabbath begins. This includes tasks like cleaning, cooking, and tending to animals, all planned with precision. There's no flexibility in the schedule, as the church has set specific times for work and worship, creating a rigid routine that governs every aspect of life. Even community events, whether barn raisings or festivals, are scheduled through church authority, ensuring that personal preferences never outweigh collective spiritual needs. For the Amish, there's no room for deviation. Time is not a personal asset. It is sacred, and its management is entirely in the hands of religious authority. Silence as obedience. For the Amish, silence is not just a choice, it is a form of obedience. Speaking out of turn, expressing opinions freely, or engaging in gossip are considered not only disrespectful but spiritually dangerous. The act of speaking is highly regulated, reflecting the deep-rooted belief that words carry power, and therefore must be used wisely and sparingly. Women especially are expected to remain silent during most conversations. Their role is to listen and respond with humility, never asserting their voice over that of men. Even within family circles, the spoken word is governed by strict guidelines. Children are taught early on that their place is not to challenge authority, and their speech should reflect their submission to God and to their parents. Gossip, in particular, is viewed as a severe moral violation. It spreads division and dishonors God's intention for unity within the community. The Amish view silence as a form of spiritual discipline, one that cultivates self-control and devotion. By controlling speech, they believe they are protecting their souls from pride and rebellion, reinforcing their submission to divine order in all aspects of life. Gender roles. In Amish life, gender roles are not simply cultural, they are seen as divine mandates. The spiritual structure of the community dictates that men lead while women submit, both in the home and within the broader society. This strict division is grounded in biblical interpretation, where the man is seen as the head of the household, responsible for guiding the family in faith and life. The woman's role is to support, nurture, and uphold the family's spiritual well-being, keeping the home orderly and the children obedient. The justification for this hierarchy is deeply embedded in religious teachings. Men are viewed as spiritual leaders, tasked with making decisions for the family and guiding them through life's challenges. Women, on the other hand, are expected to embody humility and submission, finding fulfillment in their domestic duties and spiritual devotion. These roles are lived out daily and enforced without question. From the way chores are divided to how decisions are made, the male leadership and female submission dynamic is unwavering. This division is not seen as oppressive, but as part of God's design, and any deviation from it is considered a breach of divine order. For the Amish, gender roles are not negotiable, they are a way of life ordained by God. Education with boundaries. In Amish communities, education is not about broadening horizons, it's about reinforcing spiritual values and maintaining tradition. From a young age, Amish children are taught by church-appointed teachers who follow a strict curriculum determined by the community's religious leaders. The focus is primarily on practical skills and religious teachings, with reading, writing, and arithmetic being the core subjects. However, their education is purposefully limited. Beyond the 8th grade, formal schooling ends, and the focus shifts to preparing them for roles within the community farm work, homemaking, and maintaining religious practices. Science, history, and English are not explored beyond what's necessary for day-to-day living. This restriction is viewed as a safeguard to protect the children from the distractions and potential corruption of the outside world. The reasoning behind this limited education is simple. The Amish believe that knowledge beyond their traditional boundaries could lead to pride, rebellion, or a departure from faith. By restricting education, they ensure that each generation remains tethered to the community's values, preserving their way of life and spiritual submission. For the Amish, the true education lies in living out their faith, not in the pursuit of worldly knowledge. Shunning. For the Amish, disobedience is not just a moral failure, it's a threat to the very fabric of their community. The practice of shunning is a powerful tool used to enforce spiritual obedience. When a community member breaks the rules of the ordnung, whether by leaving the faith, rejecting church teachings, or living in defiance of the community's norms, they are shunned, completely cut off from their family and friends. Shunning is not a temporary exclusion but a permanent social banishment. Those who are shunned are not only avoided by the community, but are also denied basic help such as food, shelter, or assistance in times of need. This isolation is not just emotional, it is a deeply spiritual punishment. The Amish believe that the fear of shunning will bring the sinner to repentance, restoring their soul to the community and to God. The fear of being shunned ensures strict adherence to the rules. It keeps every member in line, as the consequences of defiance are severe. For the Amish, the threat of social exile is enough to maintain obedience, ensuring that every second of their lives remains rooted in faith and submission. Final reflection. From the moment they wake until they sleep, the Amish live under the constant watch of their faith. Every action, every word, and even every thought is regulated by religious principles dictated by the church, tradition, and the ordnung. Their days are filled with purpose, from the chores they perform to the way they dress, eat, and speak. Time is not their own. It is governed by divine will. The roles they play, whether as a man or a woman, are divinely assigned and strictly followed. Even education, knowledge, and personal freedom are contained within boundaries set by their faith. In the Amish world, nothing is left to chance. Each moment is lived in obedience, each decision made in reverence to God's will. The fear of shunning and the promise of eternal salvation are the forces that shape their behavior, ensuring that every second of their lives remains tethered to the divine. As we reflect on their way of life, we are forced to ask, what does it mean to live a life where every moment is under divine surveillance? Can we truly understand the depth of control that defines their existence?